lovely people, welcome back to my channel. This is a Writing Tip Tuesday video, and I'm very happy to have you here. I'm Sammy, and I'm a writer who likes to help other writers become better writers. And that is my intention with this video here today. I love you guys, and I want you to be the best writers that you can be. So that's why I'm putting this out there. I don't want to sound like I'm trying to hurt your feelings, because I'm not. I'm really here just to help you become the best writer you can be. So, I'm here to tell you that I don't think you're really a pantser. Now, let me clarify. I don't think you're really a pantser if you've never finished any of your projects. If you have, I have so much respect for you, because my brain does not work like that, and I feel like a lot of other people's brains do not work like that. But the fact that you can do it is amazing, and I would love to hear about your process. But if you've never finished a project, if you've never gotten through a whole first draft, or more so, if you've never gotten through a revision process, I don't think you're a pantser. I think you want to be one. I think you want that kind of confidence where you don't have to think about everything before you get to it. And I think you probably have a misconception about what it means to plan. I should probably explain what a pantser is. A pantser is a term that is coined by people who are in the NaNoWriMo community. It is a sort of terminology to go against people who plan their novels. So people who plan their novels are considered planners, where people who pants their novels are people who write by the seat of their pants. So they go in without a plan, and they just sort of end up writing whatever the story takes them to do. A famous author who is a pantser would be Stephen King, and I think Sarah J. Maas is also a pantser. So we've got these authors who have very big books, who in the case of Stephen King are very adamant that people who write with outlines are wrong, but I think that's not fair to beginning writers or people who are discovering their craft. So I'm here to tell you that I don't think that you are actually a pantser. And I'm not gonna say that I don't think that anybody is a pantser. I've met some people and I've talked to some people who are very much so 100% pantsers. I fully believe them. That's their writing process, and it's very impressive to me. Someone here on YouTube that you may have heard of would be Sarah Lebrat. She is amazing writing vlogger, and she makes content about writing and her writing process, and she is a pantser. She goes in and doesn't know what it is until it is something, and then she'll shape and mold it from there. And she's been on YouTube for a while, so her content is very interesting. If you think you actually are a pantser, she can be pretty helpful in terms of writing as a pantser. But if you haven't finished anything, I don't think you are actually a pantser. I think that you are misguided in your experience of writing. I think you think that to be someone who plans their book, you have to plan everything down to the last second, and that's not fun for a lot of people. And a lot of writers don't enjoy planning away the whole story down to every last interaction, because that's not where a lot of people get the fun from. And planning down to that much makes it hard to let your characters breathe and experience in the story, in the world that they are in. And people think that when you have a plan, it's just going to take away all of the magic 100% of the time. You're never going to have the fun of finding out what your story has in store when you know what's going to happen in advance. I'm personally not a fan of doing revisions, so I plan my stories more in advance so that I don't have to do those big content edits, and I can focus more on like character development and subplots and building out my story more than I have to figure out how to make my story make sense. Having a plan when you go into your story helps you prevent plot holes that are going to hold you back and make that revision take significantly longer, which is reason why I say if you've never been through the revision process as somebody who considers themselves a pantser, I don't think you are one. Because if you don't want to do that revision process, that honing your story until it becomes something consumable, are you really writing that story, or are you just getting it out of your system until it's not something you have to think about? Now, I'm not going to say that writing a story just to get it out of you is a problem, but if you want to become the best writer that you can be, that revision process is something that you'll have to do at some point. So planning some stuff in advance helps you make that revision process easier. It helps you focus on the things that you know need to come back, and you won't forget that this character exists and they have these things going on and they haven't been in your book for the last 6 chapters. So now you got to figure out how to put them in or how to take them out from the book entirely because you forgot about them for these chapters. There's a whole lot of work that goes into fixing problems. That if you have a rough outline, or like maybe even like a semi-smooth outline, just moderately not rough outline, it can help you not have to have those problems. Outlining doesn't have to take all of the joy out of telling the story. It doesn't have to take the exploration of the characters in the world and seeing their genuine reactions to these situations away from you. It doesn't have to do that if you don't want it to. You can do the bare minimum. You can do a brain dump outline or a snowball outline where you start with one sentence that is, this is what I want my story to be about, and then expand it into, these are the characters that I think would fit in best with this story. This is the main conflict that I want to go through, and these are the things that I know I want to have in this story. That's not very much. That's just who your story is about, what the main thing that's going to happen is, and anything that you don't want to forget, basically, while you're writing. There is so much room for growth in that kind of outline. You can even do a bookend outline where you say, I know I want my characters to start off like this. This is how their normal day-to-day life is, and at the end, they're gonna have this change. This is what's going to be different. This can either include or exclude the main conflict of the story, but if it includes the main conflict, you've got your main conflict figured out, and that'll drive your story forward a little bit easier, and you don't have to work on that and build and get all of this filler at the beginning before you hit your conflict that you'll just have to edit later. Revisions are difficult. Revisions are annoying, and doing the least amount of work for them is, in my opinion, the best. You can do a 3-point outline, a 7-point outline, a not super detailed 3-act structure outline. You don't need to give every single scene an outline, every single chapter, every single character's arc. You don't need to write out everything, but writing out some things may make your process smoother. And stories are driven by the people that are in them, by the characters that are a part of the story, by the characters reacting to the conflict that is in front of them, the world around them, all of the things that the character that your reader is relating to is responding to. So outlining gives you the opportunity to meet your character for a little bit, get to know them a little bit before you drop them into your story entirely. Having to give your character a personality as you're writing seems like the most difficult thing possible to me, and it seems like a really great way to end up almost exclusively writing self-insert characters. And I don't think we all need to write a self-insert character. I think giving a little bit of effort to figuring out who your people are before you write is not that hard. Just a little bit of effort. You don't need to figure out their entire life story, but knowing how their voice sounds and maybe like their internal conflict probably would make your writing process the easiest possible. And if you know your character before you start writing, you can let your character guide the outline. They can say, hey, we're gonna go this way. Hey, we're gonna go this way. We're probably gonna end up going this way, but maybe we should have this way in just in case. Your character is gonna take you for a wild ride, whether you have a fully detailed outline or not, but giving them the space to give you a little bit of direction in that outline makes it a lot easier to let that outline not take away the fun of discovering your story. I like to think of people who consider themselves pantsers outline style as being more so landmarks. Like if you're giving someone directions in an area and you give them street by street, take a right here, take a left here, at this street, walk 300 feet. If there's GPS instructions, which are like hardcore pantsers, here's what the dialogue is going to sound like, here's the main topic of conversation in the scene, those kinds of plotters, that's like full-on GPS, every detail is figured out. I like to think pantsers who haven't quite figured it out yet should do like landmark directions. So instead of those very, very detailed, very, very helpful, very clear directions, it's like, hey, when you see the Walmart, take a right somewhere afterwards. If you're within a mile taking a right, you'll get there just fine. Once you get that far, you'll see the highway, then you'll hop on the highway and you'll go until you see the Wendy's. Like, it's not super specific, but it'll get you where you're going. And that's all you need, is just to get you where you're going. You may take the scenic route. You may take the 3rd street after the Walmart instead of the 1st street after the Walmart and see something totally different than what you might have expected if you took the very detailed GPS instructions. It doesn't have to take away the life of the story to do a little bit of outlining. And if you've never finished anything, if you've never gone through the revision process of something that you finished, if you've never honed in a story as well as you can, maybe it's worth a shot to give it a try and outline something, or try a couple of different outline styles and find something that'll click for you and your storytelling methods. Because if you aren't succeeding at your goals, then what are you gonna do next? You know? But I think that while I know that there are plenty of actual genuine pantsers out there, I think it takes you a while to figure out your writing style and your revision style as a pantser. And until you hone that in and figure out who you are as a writer and what your process is, trying things out, trying different outlines and trying different methods all together may be beneficial for you. And if you want any breakdowns on any different types of outlines or any kinds of techniques for pantsers, you can leave a comment down below and I will definitely add that to the rotation of Writing Tip Tuesdays if you guys want that help, because I am here to help you become better writers. And I know a lot of different outlining styles, from super vague to super specific. So if you're curious on any of those, let me know in the comments down below and I will make sure to get that content out for you. But that's all I have to say to you today. I believe in you. So as long as you have a way to make your writing experience the best that it can be, then you're doing great. If your best writing system is to not know anything before going in and you finish your projects, this video is not for you. You've got it figured out. If you don't have it figured out yet, that's who I'm talking to. So I'm just here to help you figure it out. So I will see you guys back here on Tuesday, because I will not be back on Saturday because it is Christmas. So I hope you guys have a great holiday and I will see you on Tuesday.